of home nation kind of thing, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's not like necessarily the largest event in the National Championships, but it is an event that I think carries a lot of like emotion for a lot of players to be like that national champion. It's a very cool feeling.
Pretty sentimental. So I think our players are ready to go here, actually. It's
I'm
there
not
we
sure
are.
what Danny realizes. Maybe he does. Maybe he just doesn't care. He's like, yep,
Okay.
give me a moment. Just going to have some water.
Well, we'll be beginning momentarily. I think our players have actually shuffled up and are ready to begin. So this looks like it is. Yep, we're about to go underway here.
I like that. It was the old fist bump handshake maneuver.
So I gotta say, I'm a little bit biased here. Danny is from my locals.
Right, that means I have to be on Team Ahmad.
You
Go
are-
on,
you
Ahmad,
are-
let's go.
You're on Team Ahmad here.
Yes, that's a unicorn.
It's really cool because he's started playing this game maybe a few years ago, and you see that growth, you see that development from not being great to being better and better and improving, and then all the way to potentially on the cusp of being a national champion. I mean, it's like I feel like that sort of father figure right now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm getting emotional.
Yeah, you've taught him everything he knows.
Yeah, no, he's a great player. I think last time I played against him was in was it a regional? I think it was a regional actually. This was back in Phantom Night format. If you could call it Phantom Night format, anyway.
You're really stretching here for some.
Sorry, yeah, no, I gotta circumvent this into a bit of a spin, So Ahmad's actually won the dice roll here and gets to. Yeah, no, we're in a very good spot. It looks like we've got the Fenrir Unicorn, Theosis into Shangri-La using the Rise Heart, and this is looking pretty powerful for him.
Ahmad, so we can see Danny's deck list in front of us, and it does feature Nibiru. So this is a card that was always the topic of questions, like, should I play into Nibiru? Should I put Nibiru in my deck? How should I deal with this? And Ahmad simply says, I'm just going to play like it doesn't exist, and maybe that's the best line. I mean, he probably doesn't know Danny's deck list. He doesn't have the benefit that we do of just having it on screen in front of us. So he's just got to play what he thinks is going to be the best on average. And even if he was hit with the Nibiru here, he's not committed that many cards, right? This is a one-card combo, even though it doesn't look like it ought to be a one-card combo. It is just a one-card combo. He's going to go first, get to banish a few cards.
Yeah, just a few off the top here. I think it's, what does it add up to 8 altogether?
Well, it'll add up to 8 in total, so that's
Yeah.
7 from the main deck and 1 from the extra deck.
I hate being victim of that so much, I gotta say. It's especially with runics and stuff, so that's the sort of similar kind of...
That's true, yeah.
Might lose one too many engine pieces off the top, but yeah, here's the next couple of cards coming off from Diablosis here.
Oh, is that a Nibiru in the hand of Ahmad as well? I think it is. I think I saw a Nibiru and a Prosperity. Prosperity, one of those cards, I've said this before, it just feels like the fact that you can use it to kind of toolbox your extra deck and cheat them into play somehow, it just feels absolutely unreasonable, it's supposed to be like a downside, banishing cards face down from your extra deck, and yet
And yet
you can draw extra cards, you can make your Arise Heart indestructible, you can, it's...
Get a draw from Garura.
To be fair,
apart from Untus.
yeah,
We've
I'm
seen a couple
actually
options.
not playing so many targets that I can see.
Yeah, there's a couple of things that you can play, but I think Danny's running the Fossil Fusion, Skullgar. I think it's the Monster Destruction.
And the man's just not playing any of them. Did he actually banish Infinitrack Goliath? Because that would be pretty sick. I saw him attaching whatever he banished from Danny's extra deck. I didn't see what it was though, but you can banish
There's
your
a Dragon
opponent.
of Annihilation
okay.
from the Diablosis.
That'd be really funny. You can banish your opponent's Infinitrack Goliath and then attach it with your Arise Heart. But it looks like he's not that fast. I don't think there are that many effects that would destroy an Arise Heart. Like Kashtira's main way of dealing with cards is banishing them, so
That
the
is the
protection
theme.
is not super important.
Gosh, you get to also pick up an Ash Blossom here as a defensive card potentially. Or you could go for the Eclipse, I
He's
suppose.
spoiled for choice, really. He's got Ash, Draw,
Does Eclipse book all cards on the field?
Even take a shifter. It does indeed, yeah.
So even yours? And does your opponent draw from your monsters in the end phase?
No one draws from... Your monsters don't even get flipped up in the end phase.
Ah, okay. That's never really come up for me now that I think about it. Your own monsters from Eclipse. All right, well, reattaching here from the Rise Heart, that's getting quite thick and large, as we're going to have a banish on, I suppose, definitely on Danny's turn, and then potentially one back on ours, as we have that many materials. I think that's a Dimension Shifter in Danny's hand, which is you tech in for some matchups and stuff like that. Dimension Shifter we kind of mentioned before. Extremely good against every other deck in the game, except specifically in this one matchup. And you probably didn't want to see it in the final, did you?
No, you really hope it's just chilling right on the bottom. You don't want that card in your hand. I mean, is it worse than Driver? I think it's a little better than Driver. And I'll tell you why.
Why? Go on.
It's because you can activate in the main phase, and that will trigger your opponent's Arise Heart, and then you can activate Talents. It's a pretty niche use, but every little counts.
That's very specific. Okay. Okay, so Unicorn is normal, special summoned here, and gets to resolve by adding a Birth. Ahmad did pick up that Ash Blossom from the Prosperity, correct?
That's a good question.
I think
so.
I think it was, yeah.
I mean, if it was Droll, he'd have activated it now. So.
Yeah. Do you think there's any reason we didn't just slap down Ash on the Unicorn, or is it maybe one of those hold for Theosis situations?
Yeah, maybe he holds it specifically for Theosis.
He's probably not too bothered regardless of what happens, right? Because, worst case scenario, you've established all of your cards in rotation. You have a full hand, and you've got Nibiru as well, should anything go wrong.
Exactly. So that Nibiru is a really nice safety blanket, because on his field there's only one interruption in the form of a Rise Heart, and it's going to get to recur a few cards, so he's going to get Theosis, or maybe he's not actually got a Theosis banished, so he'll just get the Big Bang. And that will either let him special summon the Kashtira monster he detaches from a Arise Heart, or it'll let him add it back to his hand. So I'm just thinking here, and he's using the Arise Heart. And I guess given he's doing it in response to the summon of his opponent's Arise Heart, that it's just going to target his opponent's Arise Heart, but we can't be certain. Could be on the Unicorn.
I think banishing Unicorn face down feels a lot safer, right? Just lets you make sure that your opponent doesn't recur with something like Birth, but no, it does look like Ahmad's going to go with the Rise Heart.
I guess in this case, Unicorn's already been activated, so
yeah,
I guess why not? Unicorn's now going to get its ability to banish there. Just make sure they form the chain links in the appropriate order, because there's a couple of effects they're going to activate here. So there's going to be the Big Bang, there's going to be the Rise Heart itself, and there's going to be the Unicorn. So Danny's going to get to take a peek at Ahmad's extra deck and pick his favorite card to banish.
Ahmad on a copy of Big Eye, and it looks like Danny hit one of them.
That was nice of him to show us, because half the players just put it face down. He knows he's playing for the stream.
But it's being reattached here from the Rise Heart at the end of the resolution of that effect, so I think getting extra deck monsters is fine, right? Because typically I think you don't want to put actual main deck cards, since they're easier to recur with things like the Theosis and stuff.
Yeah, it's nice to have them in your banished pile for when you can get them back off of Theosis. It's nice to have like at least one Kashtira monster underneath your Rise Heart, so that you can use Big Bang to add it to your hand or special summon it.
Shouldn't the Oblosis have triggered at some point here?
Ahmad can trigger it, I guess. He could trigger it now. So this would... Oh no, he should have triggered it before, so I guess he's missed his window to do so, because it would have been in that chain that
optional,
just
right?
happened. Yeah, it's definitely optional.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's not completely relevant, I suppose, since there's not too many.
He might be holding it for Prosperity. That'd be pretty hilarious. Wait until your opponent banishes 6 more.
Here's that Ash Blossom on that Theosis. So that would have definitely felt really bad if Ahmad had just ashed the Unicorn, just to be met with a Theosis.
Yeah, it's always tricky, because
and Danny's picking up, it looks like.
That.
Yeah. We didn't even get to see the Nibiru. That was waiting for him, so.
Nibiru, just the cherry on top.
Yeah, no, that was a rough one, I think. Ahmad opened pretty well. And
it looks pretty routine for him. He seems calm. He seems collected. I mean, I spoke to him after the game, and he said he's not calm. But, he's giving that impression to his opponent.
Really? Wow.
He said he's feeling very nervous.
Okay, he's hitting that quite well, to be fair.
Yeah, I mean, it's very respectable to feel very nervous. Like, this is
of course, the grand finals of your National Championship 1,000-plus player event. It's been an absolute blast, This has been an incredible tournament. It's been run super efficiently. And what can we say? This is going to be a great finale to an incredible weekend. I've had a great time, so I'm excited to see how this next duel or two is going to unfold, as Danny's probably in a situation where he's going to go first. We talked about going second, but I feel like I'm just gonna make the call that I think he's going to go first.
Player one gamer.
He is player duelist A indeed.
So I mean, I guess different players have their different approaches, because I can see those summon limits in Danny's side deck. I don't know if that's super clutch in the mirror, because Kashtira...
Do you think that's for the mirror? It's
I don't think it's for the
heavy,
mirror,
right?
but I think it's pretty like
I mean, it's
generic
good against
card
everything,
going
yeah.
first, yeah. But Kashtira is probably one of the best decks against it. The thing about Kashtira is it's just so good going second. You really don't need that many resources going second with Kashtira, because your engine is so good at going second. You just get to special summon monsters. You threaten your opponent's monsters with large monsters that you special summon from your hand. They can banish cards from everywhere. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, people are even including Fenrir in decks that are not Kashtira just because it's such a handy tool. So, yeah, it doesn't look to me from his side deck that he plans on going first. But you think so?
From Danny's perspective, it's kind of strange. So one other thing that we kind of pointed out that we haven't seen yet is Ahmad's on the Ibli engine, and I think that once you get deeper and deeper into Top Cut, you start to kind of scout around the top table, see what everyone else is playing. Maybe you can catch a tech card or two. Maybe Danny's been made aware of the fact that he's on Ibli, so letting your opponent start with Ibli, I mean, you could play through it, but you need to specifically draw Econ for that. So I guess we'll have to see just exactly how much he's been informed of Ahmad's deck here.
Yeah, that's always quite fun. It does change somehow the dynamics of tournaments. The later you go into the Top Cut, you'll hear players talk about this, that like, if you're playing in like the Swiss portion of the event, or maybe earlier in the knockout portion, that you can expect like players might not know who you are, what you're playing, what you're doing, but by the time it gets to the final, like other people will have seen so many matches, so maybe your friends will come along and help you out and say, oh, this person's playing this, you should keep your eyes open.
Yeah, that's the nature of I suppose suffering from success when you
Too
get
much success
when you get this far. So Danny did let him start. Okay, all right, respectable. Now we didn't get to see Ahmad completely brick here, but a Unicorn is picked up alongside a Burf, so most likely a Theosis as well in the hand. So for going first, I think Ahmad's opened very well here. No responses of an Ash Blossom from Danny.
Danny looking a bit pensive, I'd say.
I think he's. I don't think he's too worried. Potentially, it just really depends on if he's drawn any of these really good side deck cards. And I'm looking specifically at, a direct swap for Shifter to Lava Golem makes sense. If he's specifically knew he was going to go second, you don't need your normal summon in Kashtira. Although of course, you do have that Birth extra normal. But special summoning after giving your opponent Lava Golem through Rise Heart, Diablosis is obviously really huge. Or getting rid of Shangri-La if they've locked too many of your zones that you want to free up. And of course, 3 copies of Enemy Controller.
Yeah, I think Enemy Controller is one of the premier cards that people are siding or main decking specifically to help you go second in the Kashtira mirror match.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what it is about Kashtira that just seems to promote all of these strange, like, early 2000s cards, but it is just built for it, I suppose. Enemy Controller, Book of Moon, like, these are just really fantastic cards in the mirror.
I quite like the way they also gets people to use rank 7s, because I feel like rank 7s haven't really gotten much love before this. Like there were a couple, but it wasn't like people were using Big Eye. I don't remember seeing somebody use Big Eyes appear in main decks since Dragon Ruler format in 2013. So
closest thing I can think of is maybe Raid Raptors. That's a rank 7 deck sometimes. It's more like a rank up into 7 deck. Yeah, it's not really a thing as much, 10 Ys with what's the level 7 extender? Ascendant of Thunder.
Ascendant of Thunder. I know that card. Yeah,
into Tomahawk.
Yeah, I mean Tomahawk was a very very powerful rank 7, but you played cards to make that. You didn't play that because you happened to be playing level 7s. You were like, I definitely.
Just for a personal query here, what archetype do you think Galaxy Tomahawk is part of?
I feel like it feels like a sort of phantom. Oh no, it's the Galaxy, isn't it? Yeah,
okay, but what is the token that it summons?
It's like a Galaxy token, surely.
Galaxy token? No, it's a Battle Eagle. Wind, by the way.
Oh.
That really upsets me.
It's got Galaxy in the name.
I know. Anyway, we're picking up a copy of Unicorn as a follow-up by Ahmad here for the Pressure Planet Race-Off. So full field has been established and comboed into. So if Danny has drawn that Lava Golem, it's going to be a very perfect target here for Diablosis Rise Heart.
Yeah, this seems to be Ahmad's go-to. I feel
Does he have it? Does he have it? I can't quite see. Oh, I would just hate for poor Danny to be 2-0 in the final here. Especially for picking what is always going to be a risky strategy to like let your opponent start, right?
Yeah.
Like no matter how much of a foolproof plan you might have with like go second techs and stuff, it's almost always just going to be scary no matter what, because you don't know what your opponent has done post-siding.
Yeah, I'm always a bit nervous myself. Like I've never really
Played a go second strategy?
Yeah, I've never really done it in a tournament. I always feel a bit like too nervous. Because there are those times it does go wrong, and it feels worse. Like if you go first and your opponent's prepared for it, that's one thing, but I guess because that's maybe it's just me not wanting to step outside my comfort zone, and Danny's showing he is going to step outside his comfort zone and go second.
All right, he banishes 6 cards here. Econ, Book are both really solid pickups, as well as options and Engine with the... It's a little too shiny for me. I think that's a Theosis, right? That's not a field spell?
No, that's the field spell.
Is that a field spell?
Yeah.
Okay.
And 2 Prosperities, a bit like 2 blanks there.
Yeah, that's
not really what you want.
A little bit unfortunate, but hey, that's the beautiful thing about Prosperity. You know, you get to duality for double the amount of monsters, cards rather.
And you can still special summon.
And you can still special summon.
Enemy controller feels like a very, very good pick here.
Yeah, Econ is really powerful, and that's why Danny opted to go second, because stealing Rise Heart is going to be very, very strong.
Danny could be setting up.
You could go for lethal potentially, right?
Oh, it's very hard to go for lethal when you've used Prosperity.
Ah, of course, yeah, the half battle damage.
8,000 is pretty is pretty common, but 16.
16, maybe not so much. Yeah, there's very few decks in Yu-Gi-Oh that can put up that much damage in one battle phase.
I was thinking of making like the biggest Zeus in the history of Zeuses.
Yeah, I mean, Zeusing your opponent like 5 times is probably fine. Ouch, that's a heavy Diablosis.
It's a big pile of deck.
That's a big pile of deck here, yeah.
That's like half of his deck. Probably more is gone by now. Kashira, I think, is one of the best decks at like dealing with its deck being banished. I don't think it has any issue really. As long as you've still got like a minimal amount of engine, I think it's okay.
Yeah, I mean, you know, all of these cards are very staple 3-ofs, and they all work well with each other and sometimes without each other. So even just having like a Fenrir and a Unicorn sometimes can get you through. That's a big talents.
It's got the talents. Are you a taker, or are you a looker, or are you a drawer?
I guess it just depends on how much he's fearing hand traps, or feels like he could or could not deal with a hand trap, right? Because you might need to rip something out your opponent's hand. But I feel like the only hand trap you'd be worried about at this point would be like, I don't even think an effect negate would. I mean, what could you use? A Veiler? That's not been very popular. Drone Lockbird would have resolved. Ash would have probably came down on a Prosperity, so just Nib?
Yeah, I think this is like quite clearly a take, given that it's prompted Ahmad to respond by banishing his own Rise Heart. And I can't imagine you do that in response to your opponent looking at your hand.
Yeah, I think you can't really risk your opponent, or, you know, I don't know if risk is the word, but I just don't think you can let your opponent have a Rise Heart with that many materials, because establishing a Zeus is going to be ridiculous. And I guess the only fear here is that it completely opens you up. Prosperity has resolved, so we're not going to lose this turn. But just being able to establish that like 8-9 material Zeus or something ridiculous is...
Yeah, it's so threatening.
You just can't let them do that.
But Danny just going for the Zeus rather than the... So you've got the option here, you could use the effect of Diablosis, but you'd much rather have a Zeus in play, I think. I can totally get behind that.
Danny does have a Nibiru for the clapback here, potentially.
That's true. The problem is, I think on your first turn, or maybe when you're dealing with a large board, you do need those extra special summons. But I think on your second turn, when you're allowed to attack, you don't need that many summons to threaten lethal. So maybe the Nibiru on the second turn is a bit less useful.
I really don't like enemy controller being set. What do you think?
I don't really see what it does. I agree. I mean, it does in this case. Like you're just putting taking the Fenrir. I see.
It feels like almost like a waste of a Zeus, right?
Yeah, you distribute
or
it
just
to Zeus. Just wet.
Yeah, just a waste of. Either you don't take and you hold the Econ in hand, or you just hope that a singular Zeus is enough.
Yeah, I mean the Fenrir negation, like it's not a negation, sorry, the Fenrir kind of interruption will not be bad here. So it's kind of like you're getting that extra interruption, so because now the Fenrir is going to get a banish. Whereas if you use the Zeus, you wouldn't have the enemy controller. But I suppose you could have just kept the enemy controller in hand. I guess maybe some fear plays into it. You really don't want to just be OTK'd with an enemy controller in your hand. You'd feel a bit like, why didn't I set that and stop that from happening?
I suppose Danny felt quite safe in doing that because, hey, if I have to use my Zeus, then so be it. But you're still confident in taking an Econ because it gives you that protective body, as you said, as well as the ability to just use its own effect to banish your opponent's monster face down.
So Danny here, well, at least out of any visible interruptions for Ahmad, so he's got a green light to activate his birth.
Ooh, that's
he's not
that's big.
used Fenrir yet. He has just used Unicorn, I believe, so I don't think he'll be able to use it again. But maybe he's got a Fenrir to normal summon or something like that.
That's a bit odd, right? Like, I think you would bring back a monster whose effect you haven't used this. Oh, okay.
Oh no, yeah, he's got Theosis in hand, right? So that with Fenrir.
Yeah, this works out.
And he's got
all the same.
The Fenrir to normal summon. I don't know. Maybe the people on the stream can hear the the audience that are just outside. They were very happy to see Ahmad's line of play here. Just a normal summon Fenrir, is that 8,000 damage? If you combine it with the
that's
with the planet. Oh my goodness!
Triple Talon's take here. Is that really going to be it? Okay, taking away the monster here, and you know Danny does have an Nibiru in the hand, but I don't think we're on 5. Nowhere near.
I think this is only 3 summons. I think
1, 2, 3.
Yeah, I think
normal
that's
summon 4.
Normal summon 4. That's definitely
battle phase. End of main.
1.
I don't think this is 5.
3. The Fenrir was the original summon. Oh no, you're right. He summoned it twice.
The Fenrir was summoned twice?
No, the Unicorn was summoned twice. So he summoned 2 Unicorns and 2 Fenrirs.
It is enough. Yeah, no.
Danny keeping a cool head.
Wow, that Nibiru actually. Yeah, no, you're right. Yeah, of course we started with that Unicorn there. That was the whole point.
Was that 8,000 damage before? Maybe it wasn't quite.
I think it was 8,000 damage.
Yeah, you have to check what different attributes, because the field spell is buffing 100 for every different attribute, but I think Scareclaw and Fenrir have the same
Doesn't Nibiru say original?
Huh?
Doesn't Nibiru say original attack?
No, just in terms of calculating whether it was 8,000 damage before normal summoning the second Fenrir.
Oh, right, okay. Yeah, that's a good point, actually.
Maybe so it would have been 2/6 plus Scareclaw, which is 2/8, plus Unicorn, which is 2/7. 2/6 plus 2/8 plus 2/7. Is that 8,000? I think it is. But maybe I've got one of the numbers wrong. Pretty sure Scareclaw's 2/6.
You're not going to ask me about numbers here, okay?
You don't know Scareclaw's a defense?
I think it's 26.
You think it's 26? I think that was 8,000. Maybe I'm wrong.
Well, regardless, we're here now and that Nibiru token is being summoned in attack mode?
Yeah, well, it's something you have to do sometimes because you need a way to get rid of your own Nibiru.
So it's just tempting fate here to...
well, you can attack it if you
can crash it yourself, true, yeah. Yeah, so he's going to make him use his battle phase if he wants to be able to summon...
Has Ahmad just passed instead?
Yeah, he did.
Honestly, that Nibiru has so much attack that maybe enemy controller would just be lethal with one shot.
That would be game, yeah, you're right.
I mean, he's already taken 1,400, so I think it's definitely gone.
Oh yeah, if we have an eco here, this is game.
Slapping your opponent with a big Nibiru token has got to be one way for, like...
Nothing more insulting. Yeah, it was 81 damage, I think, without the normal summon.
Wow. Well, let's hope Ahmad can keep his composure, because that's got to be like, you saw the finish line like right in front of you, and then just to have it ripped away from you. So you've really got to keep a cool head and make sure you don't let it affect you, like thinking you were so close to winning and then...
So it was definitely summon number 5 on the normal summon, on that birth normal summon, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because it was the
second... So it was just game to not do that?
It was, I believe,
wow.
Yeah.
That's...
I think he'd forgotten that this was the second time he'd summoned Fenrir this turn.
Well, let's see if the rest of this duel, or even the match, is going to haunt Ahmad here, because that's something you'll definitely be kicking yourself for a while, to know that you had game with such a simple play. But I mean, it's in the moment, like you said. You see the finish line, you get excited, and it's like boom, attack with the full field here.
He thought normal summoning a monster was more fun than counting, doing the adding to 8,000. He's still got a ways to go because yeah, I mean, like, smashing Nibiru into a token for a good few thousand damage is...
So this token's on what? The attack points of 24, 24, the Unicorn, and the...
Well, the Scarecrow's got 0, so...
Yeah, so that's not relevant.
So it's just 24 plus Unicorn. I think Nibiru says on the field.
Does it?
Yeah, I think it says it does the attack, it calculates the attack on the field, but I'm not 100% sure.
All right, Danny's going to try and re-establish control in main phase 2 here. 20 minutes left on the clock. I think there's a decent amount of time to play out a potential match all the way to game 3 if necessary. I suppose they'll have to, regardless. We'll talk about time as we get there, but for now it's main phase 2. Danny has had to crash his token to be able to special summon his Kashtira monsters.
But a good trade, just to clear off your own field.
Yep. No banish cards found from the birth special summon there. Do we have anything in the grave we can revive? Like, summons from grave as well, right?
Yeah, summons from grave or banished. Yeah. But also, I mean, the normal summon here is going to be very relevant.
Yep.
Not sure. Again, like, it's difficult to like fully wrestle control of a Kashtira mirror. That's why they're always so grindy, because I think in a lot of other matchups, like once one player gets a dominant position, you kind of, your field that you establish is like just too difficult to break.
Yeah.
But Kashtira, like, they often just summon an Arise Heart.
Oh, that's huge though. Rise Heart here is really good. How do you think we sort of establish control here in main 2? Like, do we go Dragon of Annihilation, hit the token in the birth?
Honestly, I'm not sure. It's a tricky situation for Danny. Like, I think hitting the birth has got to be a priority. But other than that, like, hitting the token might be necessary because it's so big, but you often don't want to hit the token, right? Because you want your opponent to have a card in play that stops them from special summoning their Kashtira monsters. But then again, it is just a massive threat in its own right, so you do have to consider carefully what your plan is.
Yeah, I don't think there's also a world where you just like leave a bunch of, big monsters up.
So this is looking like an Arise Heart.
Rise Heart, okay.
And what's the last card? He looks like he's going to use it.
Good question.
Honestly, this is such a close game.
Yeah, no, this is intense. Can Rise Heart banish the birth?
Rise Heart can banish the birth. In fact, it cannot banish the token because the token is a token.
It can't go face down.
It can't go face down, yeah.
So we can't banish birth?
We can banish birth, yeah.
So we're gonna have to use all of our resources to...
We're gonna use all of our materials here, yeah. Oh, it's got a Theosis as well. That's an excellent last card to have.
Yeah.
Because that will be banished and then just replace itself immediately. Because it gets banished immediately, so now you can add back a banished Kashtira monster. I assume he's got one, but...
No, he didn't. That's the thing.
That's interesting.
Didn't you already use the Theosis banish effect this turn anyway?
I don't know. I don't think he did, but maybe he did.
Oh, he is adding back here. Wait, I thought
he's attaching for a Rise Up.
Right,
so you can look through your face down cards for that. I mean, maybe it's just because he's got nothing banished. I'm interested here, like, maybe I'd just use the Arise Heart now to banish Birth, because you know you're going to have to banish Birth at some point, so why not banish it now, and then maybe next turn
I guess maybe the logic is that, like, you wait for them to use the effect, and then you chain it so that they can't have a second one potentially, but then they could also punish that just by normal summoning.
Yeah, but the other way here is, like, there might be, like, a game state where you get a 3 materials again, and then you've got a second banish, so it's already got 2 materials on it. So maybe he, it's very possible it could get a 3rd material. So if Ahmed used like another field spell or a Pot of Prosperity or something like that before his battle phase.
Okay, well, Danny's tried his best there to re-establish in main phase 2 after being forced to take a massive 6,000 off damage from from that token crash. And Ahmad's going to have another turn here on 2 cards. Birth has been dealt with. Plus we have a token face up. It's going to be quite hard to actually put anything up now if you're Ahmad, unless we've exactly drawn Birth again.
Yeah, Birth is always that key card in these grind games because it lets you get 2 extra Kashtira monsters in play, and if you've just got some random junk on the field like you often end up, it lets you still summon Kashtira monsters. But having said that, this token is not is nothing to sniff at. Like,
I know,
it
you just
can't
called
be
him
banished.
junk, dude. You can't just say that about his Nibiru token.
It's a very big Nibiru token, and it can't be banished, which means it threatens the Arise Heart. I mean, not that the Arise Heart has the ability to banish anything yet anyway. Just ignoring an Arise Heart, so he is giving Danny access to that third material.
It's a bit odd, isn't it? Like, but then again, like, what are you going to do? Not attack Fenrir? It's strange, isn't it?
Yeah, you can't not attack Fenrir, but also you can't not attack the Rise Heart, so...
I think Danny's probably in a strong position here, I think, right?
I think so now, yeah. I don't know why you would do that attack before something else. So,
yeah.
I mean, funnily enough, as we mentioned before, I don't know what's left in Danny's extra deck, but all of the Kashtira cards, all of their removal is banishing face down, and normally that's a very, very efficient form of removal. So, for example, Fenrir banishes cards face down, Arise Heart banishes cards face down, but neither of those things can banish the token. So, he has banished a number of cards from his extra deck. I think Ahmad's banished a couple of cards from his extra deck. I mean, the first card that was banished might have been that dragon, the Dark Arm Dragon of Annihilation. So, once you've done all of those things, what do you have left to deal with this big token?
Yeah, it's, you know, you can't Fenrir attack or Rise Heart. Oh, good point. Big Eye?
Big Eye, yeah. I mean, we don't know what's left in his extra deck. So we're seeing quite a few banished cards from the extra deck, but maybe Big Eye.
They are both playing 2, and I think a lot of Kashtira players recognize how important Big Eye is in the mirror match. Okay, Rise Heart's gonna banish the field spell.
Yeah, I think that's
reattach, just to trigger the Theosis, right?
Yeah, just to trigger the Theosis underneath it. Let him add back that Unicorn.
Is Big Eye enough damage with this? Surely,
yeah.
I think the token is
massive,
enough.
Yeah,
he should have Big Eye here.
Maybe. I mean, there's nothing apart from like Ghost Mourner.
All right, here we go. Big Eye steal the token. Battle phase, and Ahmad picks up here. Danny managing to claw his way back after potentially being on the brink of a 2-0 defeat with that Nibiru play.
What a comeback. Yeah, again, like keeping a cool head, because most of us, like even Ahmad was like, no, that's definitely 4 summons. And Danny said, no, that's definitely 5 summons. We're going to play that Nibiru. You're going to lose your field, and I'm going to get another turn. And he used that turn to great effect.
Yeah, I assume he probably wasn't sitting there like holding up his numbers here, like 1, 2, 3, 4, counting out those summons. But yeah, it worked out in the end, and you know, I wonder if Ahmad recognizes that it was game without the normal summon now, and how much that's going to affect the mental, right, going into game number 3.
I think that's something to think about tonight, you know, before you're trying to sleep, being like, why did I do that, why did I do that?
Next week, and the month later.
You definitely don't think about it now. Now is not the time to think about it.
You can dwell on that next year, Ahmad, if you're watching this back. Hopefully it won't be detrimental in the long term, but we'll see, because it's game 3 and it's all to play for, and of course I'm Team Danny, you're Team Ahmad, so...
Oh yeah, I think Ahmad will bounce back, you know?
All right, yeah, no, it's game number 3, and Danny taking that very risky strategy of letting his opponent start. Worked out well, he does have a plan for it, played it out really, really strongly, and you know, the question is, in game number 3, what do you do if you're Ahmad? Because you know Danny let you start.
That's
true. Do you let him start now? Do you go for it? There's a lot of mind games, I think, involved with this game 3 here.
Well, this time, I feel like Ahmad, because he now gets to choose, I think he'll choose to go first because of that Nightmare Corrupted Idli he's put in his side deck. So I don't think you would have that in your side deck unless your plan was to go first.
Now, he did recognize that Danny's playing Econ, but then again, a lot of people play Econ, but that is the... I want to say the only way to deal with an Ibli on your turn, except to crash.
It's far and away the most efficient way, and I don't think you actually let your opponent crash. You can just put all of your monsters in defense mode, and then that Ibli cannot be removed. But as you said, Enemy Controller is a card that 3 of have come in for Danny, and I can only assume that 3 of them will remain in his deck. Other than that, I think maybe you have to draw a Birth and a monster, but it can be a real thorn in your side, Ibli. But we'll have to see what the plan of Ahmad is, what the plan of Danny is, and how this game 3 goes.
Establishing Kashtira Birth is the name of the game here, and the win condition. Whoever can maintain that recursion turn after turn and potentially take advantage of some blowouts like Nibiru as we saw, or that enemy controller, might be the victor in this duel here. And here I am very curious to see who Ahmad has chosen. It looks like he pointed to himself there. So he will be the first one to begin. See, with the Ibli, how do you give it to your opponent? Do you just have to hard draw it?
Yeah, you hard draw it. And
Okay.
then, yeah, it's something you have to
It wasn't
draw.
some like quirky way to get there.
It
I
can't be
assume.
fetched. No, we're not playing any sprite gigantic shenanigans. You just normal summon it and link it off for a
6
Salamangreat,
deep off of the
Almirage.
prosperity here for Ahmad, by the way. Yeah,
He's just checking he's banished the right cards.
no Goliath for him. There's
Oh,
the
there's
Ibli. He can go for it if he wants
Insta
to.
Ibli.
All right, I guess it's just a case. I mean, you have so many different options there.
Danny
Depending
got
on-
to keep
You've
a
got-
poker face here. Like, do your eyes go wide when you see that Ibli, or do you think yes, please pick the Ibli? I have enemy controller. You should definitely pick the Ibli here.
Okay, Ahmad is going to take Ibli, and I'm gonna say, based on Danny's facial reaction here, I don't want to say he's happy about that.
You know him better than I do.
Yeah, all right. Special summon Unicorn, normal summon Ibli, make the Almirage. Ibli's effect is when it's linked away, you can special summon it to your opponent's side of the field, and it has the continuous text on it for your opponent to not be able to special summon except Cybers for that turn. You can't special accept Cybers or Link Summon.
So you can't special summon except link summoning
There
when
you go.
it's on your field.
Yeah, and not a lot of Link Summoning takes place in Kashtira, as you can imagine.
There is one copy of
Donner.
Donna, Dagger for Hire, but that required you to get a second monster in play somehow, which is easier said than done.
It's really just Birth, right?
Yeah, Birth, or you could normal summon like Ash or
Heart?
something like that, yeah, or Rise Heart. So Ahmad putting down a Fenrir, it looks like, a very, very shiny Fenrir. Having some discussion
Yeah,
about
there's
it.
some discussion here, I suppose. It's guess not really relevant for us here, especially someone in the Rise Heart.
Big Eye to take it back would be very funny. Just, I mean, obviously it's very silly, but just the idea of like, I give it to you, I take it back, I give it to you again. But I don't think that's how this game's going to go. But I think this is amazing. You don't need to use your normal summon. You can just so you can just do all of the usual combo and give your opponent an Ibli.
Yeah.
And then but like you're not going to be able to get a second monster to stick to the field, right? Because Rise Heart will say no to that. It's going to look really weird seeing a Diablosis in defense mode. With a puny 1,000
defense,
points,
right?
Yeah.
So yeah, now I think you hit that Donner for hire out of the extra deck, correct?
That's a good question. Like, it's something to consider. I don't think you necessarily care about it.
Okay, he's going for Dragon of Annihilation.
Going for Dragon of Annihilation. Because I don't really see how Danny can expect to have a monster stick to the field. Like, anything normal summon will just get banished with the Rise Heart. So I think it's fair enough to ignore the Donner.
Yeah. Big Bang reattaches itself from the Rise Heart effect, and we've got 3 more materials yet again.
Did you not get one more material? Am I making that up?
One from the extra deck monster, and then one more from
other
the
effect.
Yeah, there you go.
I like the way people they rotate the materials with the XYZ monster. Although he's done it for a Rise Heart, but not for Diablosis, right?
I see what you're saying. You know, it's are you a vertical or horizontal type of guy?
I think I always keep them. In
Parallel?
attack position. Yeah.
Attack position materials.
Attack position materials.
All right. I'm a Jenga type of person. I like to interchange them. You know.
Oh, I think that's
chaotic
that
evil.
should not be allowed. Yeah.
That's a bannable offense. He has it. Enemy
it is.
controller.
That's 100% not the card you want to see.
At least if you're Ahmad.
At least if you're Ahmad, yeah, you 100% want to see that card. So I guess we're going to have to chain it here. I don't think as we said before, this is what Ahmad did in the previous game, was chain a Rise Heart to banish itself. I don't see if it's probably better that than your opponent getting it, right? So
Does target for cost, so you can't just pick something else like Talents. And
That's
all
true.
that really matters, I suppose, in Danny's eyes, is we don't get to get some value here. However,
it's a really good 2-for-1 there. I mean, enemy controller on the surface of it looks like it should be as kind of like a 1-for-2. Sorry.
2 for 1.
Well, 1-for-2, right? You give up 2 of your. I don't know how you want to call it. Most people call it a 2-for-1 when you get 2 cards for 1, right? 2 of your opponent's cards for 1 of yours.
Let's go with that.
But normally you're like giving up 2 cards to take 1 of your opponents. But this time you're getting rid of the Ibli, which is a bonus, and you get rid of the Rise Heart.
And it wasn't your card, so.
Yeah.
All right, so what you're saying is Econ is pot of greed.
Exactly. You had it here first.
All right, there goes Riceheart, and yeah, attributing for cost. Getting rid of that Ibli, and that's a planet of race off here for a search of any Cash Tira monster. Danny's getting that unicorn. That's your best starting engine piece here. Ahmad is on 3 cards in hand, not completely insurmountable to make a comeback here. It's just a question of how much of this.
I mean, Danny's not used anything yet. This is like he just used 1 enemy controller.
Yeah, the singular econ, 5 other cards remaining in hand. Second card was a pressure planet. Looks like we've already got Theosis as Birth is being picked up here for the extra normal summon of Fenrir.
This is looking like, I mean, Ahmad needs to have something to prevent Danny just going for 8,000 damage. Like, the Almirage protects your monster from being destroyed by card effects, but it's got 0 attack, so it's not going to do a particularly good job of that.
Yeah, no, you're right. Finding 8,000 damage through a defense position monster could be possible if we have enough engine here.
Well, yeah, I mean, Fenrir can just attack and banish it.
Yep.
So, special summon whatever is banished there.
That's a Scareclaw.
That's a Scareclaw, and that's, I mean...
that's game with the field spell, right?
Yeah, it's more than game with it. It's more than 8,000 damage represented, right? Because the Scareclaw's 2/6, the Riceheart's 15.
Battle phase.
Is there
Fenrir,
anything
declare attack.
Coming down here?
Oh no, Ahmad's gonna be...
That's
oh,
the
it's
game.
over, that's it, GG. Danny has hit the... I'm blown away here. That was the econ is what won that game there. It was the enemy controller altogether. A little bit of a delay there from our audience, but you can hear them from outside. Oh wow! All right, so that was an incredible final there. Danny has become victor and the national champion of the United Kingdom.
National champion, yeah, Danny Khan.
The first ever Scottish national champion.
Yeah, you've got to be very proud here.
The first ever.
Do you have a Scottish flag behind your chair just for this very occasion?
No, not yet. No, I should have brought one just for him. That's absolutely incredible. Yeah, no. It was a great final. That was an extremely technical play.
Yeah, that econ was absolutely clutch. Just saying hello.
Yeah, so it was a great back and forth, full of technical play. We saw missteps, we saw opportunities for Ahmad to have potentially won that, and I suppose Danny punished really well.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice to see a good comeback as well, like being 1-0 down, taking that first loss, but then coming back, keeping calm, and playing your game.
Yeah, no, that's exactly what it takes to be a national champion, I think. Being able to keep your cool, maintain composure, stick to your game plan, stick to your guts there, especially with the game 2 there, where he let his opponent start. Had that elaborate play in place to specifically say, I'm going to go second in Cash Tira, and it worked out. It really did.
Yeah, and I guess maybe after this weekend, people were going into this weekend. Obviously, everyone's got their ideas about what the best deck to be is. This is still fairly new, the format, right? In the sense we've just had that Cyberstorm access, but a lot of players were slating Cash Tira to be the deck, and I think it has shown itself very much to be the deck to beat.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It is. It's a powerhouse of a deck, and we still have a national championship next weekend. I think still under the current Forbidden and Limited list.
Oh, here we are to see Danny.
There's
pick up the trophy.
There's Danny with his national champion first place 2023 trophy being presented by Georgina there. So, congratulations. Yeah,
he looks really excited. It's really great to see people.
He's really happy about this. Yeah. No, this means a lot to him for sure.
Wow, what a weekend! What a finish.
I think that's us for the send-off now, right?
I think so.
Yeah, you had a good weekend. You
I've really enjoyed being here with you, Nadir.
Yeah, likewise.
And this has been such a great tournament to commentate on. There's been so much varied feature matches.
We had a whole bunch of different options. Yeah, no, it was great. It was great, and history has been made. The first ever Scottish-British national champion. So for the United Kingdom, still proud of that. So congratulations to Danny, and yeah, Cash Tira has managed to take it down. Surprised?
I think any deck doesn't have a massive chance of winning, right? Because there's so many viable decks at the moment. If you ask me what deck is most likely to win, I'd have definitely said Cash Tira.
Yeah. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching, for tuning in, for all of your interactions. Make sure you are following all the various forms of social media to catch up on future tournaments, especially with the European Championship coming up quite soon. Thank you, and this is Tom Payne and myself, Nadir, signing out for the last time from the UK National Champion 2023. Thank you for watching.